How much do exhaustion perks actually affect chases in Dead by Daylight? Now, when I say exhaustion perks, your mind probably goes straight to perks like Sprint Burst and Lithe, but there's also others such as Dead Hard and Head On and Dramaturgy. But I want to know how much these perks can actually change how a trial goes. Now, obviously, M1 killers struggle the most with exhaustion perks. What is possibly a game-ending sprint burst for a trapper is little more than a minor inconvenience for a killer like the Blight. Now, of course, it would be easy enough for me to just go and check the pick rate of exhaustion perks on several different websites, but that isn't actually going to tell me everything. So in order to test this properly, I played 10 games with the Trapper because I hate having fun. Because I wanted to get a sort of control group of what exhaustion perks I see on average in my games. So I went and tallied up every exhaustion perk that survivors brought throughout my 10 games, and I gotta say there is already a lot of information here. Throughout the 10 games, survivors brought 3 head-ons, 5 sprint burst, 6 lithes, 3 adrenaline, 4 balanced landings, 4 dead hards, 1 background player, and 1 dramaturgy. So just by looking at this list, I can already tell that a lot of survivors prefer Lithe. This is probably because it's one of the easiest exhaustion perks to get value out of. Even though others can be better, like Sprint Burst, it's a little bit harder. It has more of a skill gap than Lithe, and you kind of have to know what you're doing while using it. And of course, to no surprise, there are also quite a few dead hards, because as everybody knows, Dead by Daylight players love pain.
Pain. Love it.
However, in the words of Billy Mays, but wait, there's more. I also counted every instance that a survivor actually used an exhaustion perk to extend a chase. Yep, that's right. Throughout 10 games, survivors only extended chases with an exhaustion perk 12 times, which seems insane to me. You're telling me that in a game, I may see a survivor actually use an exhaustion perk properly once or maybe twice? That number doesn't seem right. Also, for those of you wondering if I actually watched through 2.5 hours of my own Trapper footage to figure all of this out, yes, I did. Please help me. But to put it simply, since there are 4 survivors in every game, across 10 games, that makes 40 survivors total. Out of these 40, only 24 brought exhaustion perks, which is 60%, and assuming that all 12 instances were separate survivors, 30% of the time, survivors are actually using exhaustion perks effectively. And it also means on average, I will have a survivor successfully extend a chase 1.2 times within a match. Which coincidentally is actually the same amount of times I think about uninstalling Dead by Daylight in a day.
But I don't know if I have the strength to do it.
Okay, I feel like I'm moving a bit fast. Let's quickly recap. So in total, we have 40 survivors, and 24 of the survivors brought an exhaustion perk. And we counted a total of 12 instances in which a survivor extended chase time with these exhaustion perks, which would technically mean that 30% of survivors in my games are extending chase time, correct? Actually, in 2 of those instances, the same Fangmen used Lithe, which actually means there were only 11 survivors that successfully used exhaustion perks, which, if we do the math again, comes out to 27.5% of survivors successfully using exhaustion perks. Okay, so we've come up with a percentage of the survivors that have successfully used their exhaustion perk. Now, we need an average of how much time these survivors are wasting, so their solo queue teammates can avoid gens and cleanse dull totems instead. So I didn't mention before, but when counting if a survivor successfully extended a chase, I only counted it if the chase actually continued. If I simply dropped chase the moment I saw a sprint burst, it wasn't counted. Now, I tried my absolute best to get it down to the exact frame, but I couldn't get every chase 100% perfect. The actual time that I counted was from the moment the survivor activated the perk to the moment I hit them, or the score event popped up on screen to indicate the end of the chase. And after going over every chase, the average time of all 12 instances was 23.72 seconds. So if I were to make a conclusion, it would be that 27.5% of survivors are getting value out of exhaustion perks and are able to extend chases by 23.72 seconds on average. But let's be honest. This is only 10 games, and my 10 games to add to that. 10 of your Trapper games would probably look completely different from mine. The only way I could truly give a definitive answer is if I had data from every account that's ever played DVD, and it would probably take more than my lifetime to come up with a 100% correct answer to this question. So, how much do exhaustion perks affect chases? My best guess is about 23.72 seconds. But what do I really know? I can't even hit a DS skill check.